A new report has highlighted a growing change in the Canadian entrepreneurial landscape, especially with younger Canadians. With the self-employment rates shrinking, a combination of factors such as growing inflation, strong labor markets, and ongoing pandemic uncertainties seem to be reshaping the country's business goals. This transformation in the minds of the younger generation goes beyond individual career choices. It reflects a change influenced by broader economic and societal forces. Joining us now to help us unpack this trend is Brendan Caldwell, Director of Caldwell Securities Ltd. Welcome back to Forum Daily, Brendan.
Hey, Julie, great to be here. Thank you.
New reports have emerged saying that Canadian entrepreneurs are in decline. Why is entrepreneurship down?
Well, I think there's a combination of factors, but I do think the single biggest contributor is regulation. I'm from the government and I'm here to help is not actually the most helpful of phrases. Indeed, it's one of the more terrifying to a business owner, because if governments knew how to run a business, they'd be running a business as opposed to being in the public sector. So the sheer amount of regulation, whether it's my own industry or really any industry, has made the barriers to entry higher. Now, incumbents, whether it's in labor unions or in businesses, like high barriers to entry because it protects a ring fence around what they do. But it does stifle innovation, which, I mean, is problematic because most innovation comes from new businesses.
Do you also believe that Canada's aging population may be to blame?
Possibly. I mean, we're getting older. I mean, not you, but I'm getting older. And we do have a big bump in the baby boomers. But there are a lot more people born in were born in 1995 than there were when I was born in 1970. I'll let everybody else on the TV do the mental math. So the 28, 30-year-olds, there's a lot more of them than there were of my generation. Now, there's nothing worse than an old fogey telling old fogey stories. But when I was coming out of school, people really did three things because they were in the midst of what was, at the time, the biggest recession we had in many years, the early 90s. So most people either stayed in school or made up their own jobs, built their own businesses, or went into sales. I taking the latter category. But there were ways to adapt. And what I'm encouraged about with this generation is they know stuff I will never know. The interwebs, the whole way of interacting virtually is a first language to them, where it's a distant second language for me. So I think there's so many opportunities.
So why does it matter that entrepreneurs are in decline?
Because entrepreneurs are the lifeblood of new ideas. Big companies invent nothing. I mean, I overstate the case, but it's basically true. Big companies are big lumbering giants going behind wherever the entrepreneurs are because it's too expensive and they don't have the mental flexibility because they got too much bureaucracy, too much internal regulation on top of the government regulation to ever invent anything. What they do is they just glob on to something that's going to be the new high-tech thing. I mean, so to get new technology turned into something practical for an economy, for a consumer base, you need new companies, smaller companies, and indeed to even get any basic things done in your own house, from plumbing to electrical, it needs to be a small business making it happen.
So how then can we encourage the younger generation to become entrepreneurs?
Get out of their way. They're way smarter than we are. But I do think that perhaps having some things in school, making it an option. It was never really taught in school that you could create your own business. We train people to be lawyers or accountants or engineers or some sort of profession. We don't mentally gear them for being their own boss, to running their own company. But I think to the extent that we're able to get out of the way of the next generation, encourage them, let them know it's an option, but then turn them loose. They know stuff you and I will never know about how to, for example, make this new technology work. So I think and we're seeing it here in Toronto with AI. I mean, Cohere, for example, is one of the leading companies in the artificial intelligence realm. is run by a 20-something, and I think there are going to be more of those opportunities in the years to come.
Thank you so much, Brendan, for your time. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Julie.